computer. And now here I am, live with you in Australia on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Nice to see you with another glass of bubbly. Now, whilst you're bubbly, I'm having a coffee because it's 5 in the morning. It's a bit early for a bubbly at this end. So, you have started, which I'm really excited about, the course. And you've come to a point where you've got something and you're like, I'm not sure how this fits in with what we can do or what we should be doing with our clients. Would that be fair to say?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think what I wanted to say first off was that when I'm live training, it gives me the opportunity, like we have now through the joys of the internet, of having a conversation where I can go, this is what we're covering. So we're talking about controlling conversations and how often conversations can be, oh, you're moving. I was going to say, slowly this glass of wine was coming more and more into shot. Yeah, so we talk about controlling conversations because one thing I've found when I've been going into salons as a client is that it's very easy for us, any of us, to end up talking about what we like to talk about because that's what human beings do. And we have some really key bad habits that all adults will do. We'll talk at the same time as somebody else, especially if you've had a glass of wine. You know, if you've ever been like in a bar or something and you're with a friend and you're there and you're sort of like, oh, and then this happened, that, and you end up both talking at the same time and you just get louder and louder in that eventually you will be quiet and listen to me because I want to talk. And we have certain key habits that we do. And what I have found, and I know I share a couple of stories in that training module, that I've been there in a salon, I've met a new stylist or a new therapist, and they've perhaps asked the question, which one of them was, are you going on holiday this year? And for me at that moment in time, it was like, no, because I just don't have the time. I'm so busy. And that should have been a cue for that person to go, well, what do you do? Because then I would have had the conversation and talked about something that really excites me. Well, I train salon people just like yourself, and I'm filming at the moment, and I'm trying to get all of the lessons done. And it would have been something that excited me and made me feel good. But instead, she said nothing. It was just this deadly silence. And I really was in my head like, I don't want to ask her this question. Not because I didn't like the person. I've only just met this person. And I really felt like, oh my God, this is how clients feel. Because I now know that I need to ask the same question back and say, how about you? And I didn't want to ask the question. I'd only just met her. I didn't want to know what she was doing. And she literally told me the entire year's plan. Her brother was getting married in Wales, so they weren't going to go on a big holiday because they needed to keep the money for when they were going over to Wales. And what they were going to look to do was to hire a cottage, and they were going to stay there and she went on and on. And I sat there sort of smiling with that sort of like, oh, yeah, oh, right, nice, really, And it was just like, this is ruining my experience. And so the main point I suppose I want to get across with the lesson is understanding and knowing that we need to control how we communicate with our clients, because it's very easy to get caught up in telling our clients something that excites us rather than trying to think, how can I get you to feel excited? How can I get you to talk about something that makes you feel good? Because when we buy and book anything, it's about how we emotionally feel. And I ended up in that service with that stylist feeling annoyed. And that's not the emotion we want a client to feel. I don't want a client to feel like, oh, say, shut up. Or the cat lady. You heard the story of the cat lady. Now, the cat lady, you'll see her, she appears back in our training as we go through. You'll see little snippets where a cat will appear playing with something. And the lady is one of the leading industry experts in beauty. And she spoke about how she likes her stylist. She was with in a hair salon. She likes the lady. She loves what she does. But she had got to the point where she really did feel if she talks about that damn bloody cat one more time, I am never going back. And what she explained also, which I thought was really interesting, and I've experienced myself, is that she said, I'm in the industry. I know I should go and talk to the owner. I know I should tell her, look, you need to be aware this is what's happening and it will be affecting your business, damaging your business. But she said, I won't say anything. I'm just going to leave. 95% of unhappy clients will never come to us and say, look, the reason that I'm not going to rebook is, the reason that I'm going to actually look for somewhere else is, and we won't know. So we live in this, I call it the oblivious virus. We're completely oblivious that actually what we are doing is making people feel agitated, annoyed, or not feeling anything. We call it the nice zone, where, you know, it was nice. Oh, you were nice. It was a nice video. It was lovely. And if we asked clients at reception, you know, that sort of, I don't like this because I don't think you'll ever get really what you need to get. It is a good way of just getting a gauge as to, actually, we've not done enough. Something's been missing. When that client says to us, you know, how was your service today? And they go, it's lovely. It was nice. That tells us that I haven't really felt anything. You know, it's been all right. It's in yourself to say a restaurant or a hotel or somewhere and someone asks, and it's, you know, yeah, it's lovely.
Yes. I know I do that if I've been to a restaurant or something. Go, yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it was lovely. You do. Yeah, but you won't tell them the truth.
No. How many of us are going to say, well, actually, you know, let's start. Where do I start? You know, the server, well, she didn't tell me about the specials, and I was quite interested to know about the specials, but she didn't tell me anything about those. And then she didn't bring me a knife and fork, and actually there was a dirty mark on the table there. And when I went into the loos, oh, don't get me started. We just go, it was lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, we have that smile, don't we? It's like, oh, yeah. It's like a mask of like, actually, it wasn't that great. You know, the food was all right. It wasn't fantastic. It was all right. And that's where we end up then, where we have clients that will come to us and maybe they stay for a few visits, but then all of a sudden we'll go, you see Mrs. Jones? Oh, you know what? I've not seen Mrs. Jones for a while. And they'll drift off. And that to me is that we call it the nice zone, and we'll cover it in module 2, where we talk about and look at how do emotions work for human beings and how we get different emotions. So that's when we then come to these finding intriguing questions. Do you need to use these weird and wonderful suggestions that I've given or that you've then come up with? And my answer would be no, you don't have to. But what I want you to get from this section of training is that if we stick with the mundane, if we be a pigeon, then our clients just aren't going to have that sort of like, oh, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that like, oh, this is fantastic. This is great. I love it. We're making people have an emotional experience, and that's what keeps people returning, because when we have emotions, we become connected to people, and that becomes then, you're my therapist and you are the only person that I'm going to come to. And so with the questions you've come up with, yes, there may be ones that you'll look at and go, I can't see how I can put that. How can I put that in a conversation? Hi, Mrs. Jones, you're here for your manicure. Come and sit down. How are you going to spend $5 million? You know, it doesn't feel right, because perhaps the conversation doesn't take you in a route where you could use these questions. So if you see it as like there's no set rule, I will not sit here and go, this is what you've got to do. Because the whole point of the course is it's about discovering your way of working, but having a plan that you can use that you know works, but it's now put into your voice and your personality. Now, I'm quite an outgoing kind of loud person, and I get very excited if I'm not careful when I'm with clients. I have to really watch myself. But I know that I could perhaps bring that in, an intriguing, unusual question, because my clients would know that I'm a bit wacky and out there, and I could probably work it in quite easily. But if that's not your personality, it will feel more uncomfortable. And I don't want any of you to feel uncomfortable with what you're doing or saying or using with the clients. The most important part of this lesson is that we don't monopolize the conversation. We're aware that we as human beings will like to do all the talking. We will. If a subject comes up that intrigues interests and we're passionate about, it's very easy for us to go, and then we get into talking and we're doing all the talking. And our key really is that we spend more time listening than we do speaking. And then it's just trying to figure out, what could I say? What is my client passionate about? Maybe she's got kids, and we know that on the one side they might annoy the hell out of her because kids are exhausting. We love them dearly, but they are exhausting. But there will be things then we could find out as to, you know, so have they got any school plays coming up? Have they got anything interesting coming up that we could try and then tease that client into, well, yes, actually, they've got a play coming up soon and they're playing a camel. I've got to find an outfit for them. I had to find an outfit for a camel. You know, anyway, how the hell do you make a, hi there, we've got a note for you today. Here you go, Caroline. Your child's playing a camel. Now find an outfit for a camel. But if you asked me that, I could probably sit and we'd have a giggle about it, because it would be like, how am I supposed to find an outfit for a camel? Out of all the roles he could get, he's not Joseph, he's not a wise man, he's not a shepherd, he's a freaking camel. Where's a camel in that story? We could find a way of them making it something that makes them smile and laugh. And that's what we're looking for. So I've spoken for a little bit. From your point of view, is there any questions you want to ask or anything you want to add with what we've just started on? And while you do that, I'll slurp my coffee. Now I've put you on the spot.
You're right. So conversations started that we sort of discussed are more like niche, more relevant in salon. So like, for instance, there was a question where I asked the client, what more would they like to see in salon, as in promotions or discounts, or get them talking about that side of things. Yeah, more so than being
we definitely made them more not so much conversational, but I suppose salon based, as opposed to personal questions specific to the client.
Okay. Have you ever used, and we cover this in module 3, there's a bonus lesson called the price list question. You know, when you get someone who walks through the door and goes, do you have a price list? Now, I look at that, it's a cover story. It's like a safety blanket. What they're really saying is, I'm looking for a new salon because I'm not really impressed with my salon. My salon's a nice salon, but it's only nice, and I'm thinking about going somewhere else. And what are you like? It's a cover story. So the question we use with that is,